Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, August 14th, and I'm your host, Krista McDonald. Major school news has come down this week as the school committee has voted by a vote of 3-1 in favor of reopening the Norwood School District following a hybrid model, pending district resources.
But going back to Maya's motion, which Joan seconded, is to have the school committee endorse the hybrid model as a preferred model, pending district resources. Any further discussion on that motion? Okay, all in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Okay, opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so 3-1, that motion does carry. So Dr. Thompson, does that give you the guidance that you need at this time?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
So just clarify for me the communication that will go out to families and staff based on that vote that we just took. Is it that we are reopening with the hybrid model with the huge caveat that over the next couple of weeks as we learn more about all of our resources, that could change, right?
We are continuing to move to a reopening of a hybrid model, and that those details will be evolving as this entire ball of wonderfulness just keeps evolving. So.
Teresa Stewart, chair of the school committee, explains that the committee did vote to move forward with the hybrid model, but families still have a choice to have their children educated remotely.
On Monday, August 10th, 4 of our members met and deliberated for quite some time around what our preferred model for the opening plan was. After a lot of deliberation, the committee voted 3-1 that our preferred model for reopening for the 2020-2021 school year is the hybrid model. Now, it is important to understand that with the hybrid model, families do retain family choice, and as required by the state, Norwood Public Schools is offering a remote learning academy. If you go to our reopening plans on our website, on page 15, you can read more details about what the remote learning academy will look like.
Jody Smith, president of the Norwood Teachers Association, explains that although there is no perfect option, the majority of the teachers in the district voted to start remote.
There is truly no good model that is out there that can keep everyone safe and provide the level of instruction that the teachers of Norwood are used to giving to the children. The students here are the ones that we are most concerned about. Teachers are concerned about not only the students' safety, but their safety and the safety of their children and families at home. On a recent poll, the teachers were asked whether or not they would prefer to start remote, moving into a hybrid model, or starting right off with hybrid. 69% of the teachers felt that the safest way to implement this model would be to start remote and slowly, gradually bring students back into the buildings. Gone will be the days that we'll be able to console that reluctant first grader. Also at the high school level, socialization is going to be different, because kids are not going to be able to socialize when they are used to doing it in the hallways in between classrooms, before and after school. There is, like I stated at the beginning, no real good model here, but what we as teachers feel is safest is to start remote and move forward into the hybrid model, where we can make sure that we are giving the children the most effective education that we can in these unprecedented times. So in closing, I urge everyone to try to take a deep breath. We are all here to try to make it work for our children first, then our staff, and what we say is when it is safe to do so.
Superintendent David Thompson sat down with Jerry Slater to explain the challenges the administration faces as they plan for the reopening of school.
So I'll give you an example. So we brought together, a high-quality team to work on our curriculum. Curriculum revision like this, and this is going to continue throughout the year. But normally, to revise the curriculum, that's a 3-year process. Okay, we're talking less than 3 months.
Right.
Okay, bus guidance, we just got the middle of July. If you're redoing bus routes, that's at least a 3-month process. We were talking about 6 weeks. Maybe we'll get to 7 weeks to redo bus routes. So when people are frustrated that they don't know this and they don't know that, they need to understand the amount of work that has been dropped on us in the limited time frame we've been allowed to do this. And I know people are not happy about the 10 days. I honestly, even if that didn't come through, I do not know how I would at this point in time have students walking through our doors on September 2nd. It might have been remote, might have been something else, but that's just a capacity and reality. And
Teresa Stewart also stated that although the state designated Norwood as a green community, the plan is to still open schools in the hybrid model.
Now, it is important to understand that after the school committee vote and the submission of the district's plan to DESE on August 11th, later on the day, on August 11th, the state came out with an updated metric that they are asking districts to use in guidance in determination of how to reopen their schools. Some good news in this metric is that Norwood, as a town, is currently listed as a green community, which is great news and evidence of the wonderful work we have all been doing with our public health protocols this summer. However, families do need to understand that even though we are in the green, we still will not be opening in a full person model this fall. Details on why a full person model is not feasible or safe for the Norwood community is detailed in our school reopening plan, but please know at this time the plan is still to reopen on September 17th in the hybrid model.
Norwood Community Media will have more on the district's school reopening in the following weeks. Stay tuned after this break for more town news.
Hi everyone, Aubrey here from Impact Norwood. I just wanted to let the community know that with the school year coming up, people might be feeling a lot of anxiety, parents, guardians, youth in the schools, and that Impact Norwood has really great resources available to the community to help deal with anxiety and other mental health issues. You can visit our website, impactnorwood.org. We have a really great mental health resource guide. You can download it as a PDF and it has different sections. So if you are a teenager or a parent or a grandparent, there are different sections for you so you can find resources that will be the best in helping you support your mental health. As we continue to deal with all of the unknown, it's also really important to make sure you take time to take care of your mental health, and Impact Norwood is here to help you do that. If you can't find a resource and you're looking for something in particular, you can reach out to me, Aubrey Seal, acl@norwoodma.gov, and I can hopefully help you find the resource that you need.
Welcome back. On Tuesday, the state's second revised order regulating gatherings went into effect. Due to an uptick in cases around the state, Governor Baker announced that they lowered the limit to outdoor gatherings from 100 to 50 people. Sigal Reese, Norwood Public Health Director, spoke to NCM's Jerry Slater about the recent restrictions.
Sure. So seeing those upticks in some of those communities, what they've attributed through so as we do the interviews with the cases and we try to understand where their exposure might be and we do the investigations, they've tracked a lot of clusters to social gatherings. There was the party down at the Cape. They had football practices happening where people weren't social distancing and wearing face coverings. So there's a couple examples where they had large people gathering in large groups. So what the governor has done is decrease the amount of people that can gather outside from 100 to 50. The indoor gathering remains at 25, which it's been for quite a while, but the outdoor gatherings has been reduced to 50. And it's also expanded to all types of events, public or private. And the other thing is, even though you're restricted to those 50 people, social distancing and face covering is still required at those events, even though you're outside.
To see the full interview, tune into the NCM Community Channel or watch it on the NCM YouTube channel. The Norwood Recreation Department paid tribute to Lee Kennedy this week. Lee retired in March of this year and due to COVID-19 was denied a proper send-off after her 20-plus years of dedication to the department. Norwood Recreation Superintendent Travis Farley and Assistant Director Katie Seastead put a small group together to give Lee the recognition they know she deserves.
We actually had a couple things we wanted to do for Lee, this being one of them. Lee's retirement party was going to be one, and obviously that was going to be a big event because everybody knows Lee and she's so well known in town. But obviously that gets pushed back, so we're hoping to do something else maybe when everything settles. But the room dedication was something we always wanted to do. Our assistant director, Katie Seastead, did a great job putting it together today. We had to obviously prolong it a little bit longer than we would have liked, but when we did this room over and we made it primarily top programming, it really was just a perfect fit, because everybody that sees Lee when they come in, everybody knows Lee loves to see the kids when they come in and gives out lollipops. It's like the highlight of the day. So it really was a perfect fit to try to name the room after Lee.
I really don't know what to say. I think it's wonderful that years and years after this, people will come in and they'll still see my name and Michelle's picture. And I just never thought this would happen. It was just completely beautiful.
Now we'll toss it over to Brian Dunn with sports.
Hello there. Welcome into the sports update for this week. My name is Brian Dunn, and we have a few new updates regarding not only K-12 and high school sports, but for youth sports and amateur sports for this coming fall. The Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, the EEA for short, came out with new guidelines just this past Thursday on what the fall sports season should look like amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, as noted a couple weeks earlier with the initial guidelines, sports are now categorized into 3 separate categories: low risk, moderate risk, and high risk. And with those risk category levels comes levels of participation to play. Level 1 being just group training exercises and activities, with level 4 being the full competition play in tournaments of the like. Now, this flowchart provided by the EEA does a great job of explaining exactly how this new system works. These new high-risk categories have a little bit more hoops to jump through when it comes to returning to full play. Because of the nature of the sport, whether it be collisions, tackling, blocking, sliding, any sort of contact in between, they have to find a way to limit that or eliminate that entirely. So there has to be new safety precautions being taken place either with practices or in games and modifications to the game as a whole to make sure everything is done in a safe and proper way. The biggest takeaway, at least for me, is that, I repeat, this is not a decision on the high school sports season. This is just the EEA's guidelines on what they believe the fall sports season should look like. Right now, we have to wait for the DESE, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, to produce their guidelines on what the fall sports season should look like, and then and only then can the MIAA meet, come together, and figure out, is the high school sports fall season happening or not? And when that decision comes down, we will have it here on the Sports Update, and we will have reactions from players and coaches and the like. So again, this is not a decision on the sports season. This is just one step and a few steps in this process. Again, thank you all for tuning into the Sports Update this week. Stay tuned in the coming weeks for that decision on when the fall sports season verdict is going to come down. Kristen, back to you.
Thanks, Brian. The school committee made a few other key decisions during the meeting on Monday night. Aside from voting for the hybrid model, the school committee officially voted to begin the school calendar year on September 17th. Other votes taken included approvals of both the administrative assistant contracts and custodial contracts. 2 new positions were also approved to help the technology department be better suited to meet new goals and standards with the remote learning need becoming more prevalent. The school committee is scheduled to meet next on August 26th. On Tuesday night, the Board of Selectmen held their meeting. Mark Ryan was in attendance and explained the MBTA's proposed plan to move bus stops.
So the MBTA has embarked on improving their bus stops with granite curbing, accessible handicap ramps, signage throughout their system. And on the 34E in Norwood, they propose to do some work at Hillside Ave and Walpole Street, Ellis Ave on Washington Street, and Ponset Street at Washington Street. And then finally, Washington Street between Allendale Parkway and Short Street. Well, Mr. Chairman, when they came to me with their, what would be considered a 75% design to get input, I relayed to them our opposition to relocate the bus stop. This is the bus stop that's just south of Allendale Parkway in front of Carol's Auto, and their proposal was to put it right in front of Hawes Pool at Short Street.
Mark Ryan explained to the board that he was not in support of the proposed plan to move the bus stops.
Being at an intersection that's very congested, a future traffic signal is coming there, and I just felt that it was not safe for everyone involved if that went there. The T responded initially saying they felt putting the bus stop there would allow accessibility to Hawes Pool for disabled people. And, I felt that wasn't, as good as that is, I didn't feel it warranted moving it purely because of the safety issues I discussed. And then they came back and talked about they felt it was safer than it being at Allendale Parkway. It kind of spaced out their stops a little better between the one that's just north of it on Concord Ave and then the one further south across from Moore Street at the Morse house. And they also thought, moving those parking spaces in front of Hawes Pool would be beneficial for the town. But my feeling is you're just inviting more congestion, and as a traffic engineer, more friction in an already complicated area at Short Street.
The board passed Mark Ryan's recommendation not to move the bus stops. The Board of Selectmen's next meeting will be held on August 25th. There were 2 meetings Wednesday, starting with a brief Airport Commission meeting in the afternoon. The meeting began with a project update from Du Bois & King. Then in new business, the Commission discussed the FAA payment plan request and the engineering contract and environmental assessment of Taxiway C. The meeting ended with the Commission entering into executive session. Their next meeting has not yet been scheduled. Later that night, the Community Preservation Committee met to discuss proposed projects for the fall special town meeting. Proposed projects included an assessment of Norwood swimming pools and the Murphy Field basketball court. The CPC will meet again in the coming weeks. For complete government coverage, tune into the NCM Government Channel or watch it on demand at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Stay tuned after this break for more town news. Welcome back. The state primary elections are less than 3 weeks away, and the town is offering the residents of Norwood the option of early voting. For more on the schedule for early voting and where to vote, we go to Town Clerk Mary Lou Folan.
Hi, I'm Mary Lou Folan from the Town Clerk's office, and I want to talk about the early voting session that's going to be held in the town of Norwood for the primary that's coming up on September 1st. The first day starts on August 22nd, which is Saturday, next Saturday. We will be here from 3 to 7. Sunday, we will be here from 8 to 12. And then Monday through Friday, we will be here from 8:30 to 3:30 in the afternoon. And it ends on August 28th. And an important note is to note that Memorial Hall door, there's only one entrance to early voting, which is going to be the Memorial Hall door, which is right behind me. That's going to be the only entrance to enter for early voting. And if you have any questions at all, please call the town clerk's office. We will be here. And like I said, it starts on August 22nd and ends on August 28th.
Many shops and stores in Norwood have adapted to COVID-19 rules and restrictions. Food establishments have probably had the most notable changes. To get an inside look at one restaurant in particular, we go to Broadway Pizza and Grill, which was one of the many restaurants still offering takeout during the shutdown. Owner John Mantis explains the precaution he and his employees are taking to ensure everyone's safety.
We're trying to keep both ourselves safe, my employees safe, but also customers and our families safe. It is some strange times we're living, but as I said, we have to take those precautions, social distancing. We always try to sanitize the store. Every few customers went back in March. Nowadays, every hour, we sanitize doorknobs, bathroom countertops, tables, chairs. So we're doing a lot of sanitation, trying to do a clean hygiene to make sure everybody's safety is our priority.
Even though Broadway was open during the initial shutdown, business declined dramatically.
Early March, when it started, it was really some tough times. People were scared. People didn't want to go out. Even like a couple of weeks ago, I had a customer I hadn't seen for like 4 months. long time no see. It's like, yeah, this is the first time we're having dining or takeout in 4 months. I'm like, wow.
Mantis says business is steady now, and while adhering to new protocols issued by the state, Mantis is happy to have his usual customers return.
Business now is doing good. We're not to the level that we were before COVID-19. Again, this time of the year, usually by end of July, businesses slow down. It's vacation. August is a vacation month. Everybody's getting ready for September, go back to school. And again, because of the uncertainties that we're living, we don't know what's going to happen in September. I think it has affected a little bit more of the customers these days. They're not out, as much. But again, the business is a little bit lower. But again, nothing to what it was back in March.
To learn more about Broadway Pizza and the food they offer, stop by at the corner of Cottage Street and Broadway. Businesses in the town of Norwood are starting to find their new normal as they begin to reopen their doors to the public. Goldfish Swim School opened up back 2 weeks ago. General Manager Mike Perroni tells us all about the changes and proper precautions Goldfish has taken to open and operate safely during the pandemic.
We've been open for about 2 weeks now, and obviously the world has changed, so Goldfish has changed with it. We're still teaching our high-level, high-quality swim lessons, but we've had to adjust to the pandemic by keeping social distancing. So we've spread out our chairs to accommodate for a 6-feet buffer between parents. We allow only one parent in, where we used to allow the whole family to come in. Our lanes are now double the width. So each lane is twice the width. We've limited the number of students from 4 students in a class to 3 students in a class. So each student is socially distanced. We've also color-coded our equipment. So each student only uses their color code. If you come into my class, you may be blue. All the equipment's color-coded blue. When we're done with that class, the instructor simply leaves that equipment on the deck. A deck assistant scoops it up, immediately takes it and sanitizes it, while the swim instructor brings a new, clean set of equipment and learning tools to the front. So everything we've done is geared towards safety, keeping things sanitary and keeping things socially distanced. We regularly wipe everything down, and ownership bought us an electrostatic sprayer that in between each lesson we spray down every changing hut, every bathroom, and every chair. People can always go visit our website at goldfishswimschool.com. Look for Norwood. You could go to our Facebook page. All of our new COVID protocols are listed on our Facebook page, as well as our website, as well as Instagram.
Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.